the fields we go, laughing all the way.
Okay, and I'm Donna Mae Weinford.
And I'm Angie Otts. And this is Between You and Me. We got some really great stuff going today.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about at Christmas time, you just have all kinds of rich traditions and food that you make, recipes that are handed down forever. And we just wanted to share some of those funny things about those times because we can remember some of them.
Yeah, because we have a lot of years of memory behind us.
That's
we
right.
do. Yes, yes. And some of the recipes are fun to talk about that maybe people don't do anymore, or maybe they do. And in any case, you might relate to some of this, we're hoping.
Right.
And one of the recipes I remember is petitza. Did you ever have petitza, Angie?
I don't know, what is it?
It's like a nut bread. It's not sweet, but it's like you mix the nuts and maybe raisins if you want them, like whipping cream not whipped, and that's kind of the mixture. And I think there's maybe eggs in there too. I can't quite remember. And you just mix that all together, and then you put it in a dough type, not real sweet, but a sweeter dough. And that just gets rolled in there, and it gets rolled up with the filling goes on top, and then you roll it up and put it in a pan and bake it. And that is one of the traditions we have had in our family forever.
What nationality was that?
The nationality, I believe, is Yugoslavian, Czechoslovakia, because that's where my mother was from, and where it would have come more or less, that area. They've changed names so many times.
I know,
to
that's
know
true.
what
That's
it
true.
is over there. But so that's one thing I remember.
Well, it's funny because I think when you're young and you're a new mom and wife and everything, and you want to try whatever is new then, make that thing that everybody's saying, this is great for this Christmas.
Yeah.
And so a tradition in my family was that we would make green wreaths
Oh, I remember doing
out of
those.
cornflakes
Yes, yeah.
and marshmallows, and then you colored it green, and you put these little red hot dots on it, so it looked like a little wreath.
Yeah, and you remember molding those things?
Yeah, well, see, you got green all over your hand. Well, see, this was what the kids,
Loved.
wanted to do something like that. Okay, this was simple, but I guess I didn't really think about this, that it was going to be a mess.
Yeah.
But we could do it because it's just cornflakes and just switch them up. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, they had green all over their hands.
All over
They
the
had
table.
on the table every place.
Yeah.
And their tongues were green, and then they used to laugh and they stick their tongues out. That they were the monsters now because they had the green green tongue, and so that became kind of a tradition. My son now, they still do that he does that with his family now.
Because he remembers it, and that's something they always... one thing we used to do, too, in my home that I can remember, kids would look forward to it, especially the young, I think it was more around the very young grandchildren years. Not too long, sometime as soon as it got cold, we would make homemade donuts.
Oh.
And they love to do that. They still talk about it. Even today, sometimes they say, when are we going to make donuts, Grandma? Because then they want to bring their kids over and make it. But,
well, see how these things are very memorable for a young age, I know my kids will always bring up some particular recipe, and if I make it and it isn't quite, that just wasn't like it. I said, can you remember how it tastes,
Yeah.
And I guess they think they can.
Do. They do, yeah.
But the kids have always kind of, joined in. And one year, I can't, it's probably in the 70s or 80s, that there was a recipe for skewering things onto a toothpick. I mean, it's finger kind of food. Well, it
Yeah.
took Spam. You could buy, you buy the Spam in the can, and it's all kind of jelly on it, and you have to clean it up. Then you make it into squares, and then little square pieces of cheese, different cheese, slice a pickle in an olive, and you put this
That
on
would be
it.
really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was
The days
but
of
if I would tell somebody about that, we
Spam.
we made a Spam sticks,
Yeah.
and they say, oh my God, you use Spam?
Spam?
I mean, put shrimp on it or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the thing. So one Christmas when the kids were a little bit older, they bought their dad a Spam shirt. So every Christmas Eve during the day when we made these little hors d'oeuvres, he would have to wear that shirt, and it was pink
Yes.
shirt with a great big thing of a picture of a
Spam thing?
Spam can.
I imagine he couldn't wait to wear that
Yeah,
every
I
year.
know, but it was a prestige
Yeah,
thing because
yeah.
he was the one that was the Spam guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
here I was the one that said, "Okay, we're going to make these things up," and then all of a sudden it wasn't grandma's anymore,
It's-
and it wasn't mom's anymore. It was dad's
Oh,
and
yeah.
grandpa's.
So he was
You know,
proud to have that.
I know it.
remembered
It was
that.
really kind
Yeah.
of a fun thing, but and I still have that Spam shirt. I got to pass it on, because it's just.
Hey, well,
And
your
it's something
boys
that's,
should have it.
I think we think of, what are some of the kind of funny things that we have done, with recipes or, just doing things together, like making cookies with the kids,
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh,
where
remember
you have-
the cookie? Do you remember? I remember getting it all set up. I had, the frostings here, and I had baked the cookies ahead of time. Generally speaking, the cutout cookies, and then, it's time now we're going to decorate the cookies. Well, pretty soon, guess who's sitting there just decorating the cookies? They all start, but then they get bored. Well, I had 4 boys and 1 girl. The girl
Yeah.
maybe remained.
Well,
a
or
little
they
longer.
dump the colored little
Now you
candies
got-
on top
you
of
got-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never had, like you go somewhere and somebody has been just so creative and beautiful that they made all these lovely cookies and, they're picture perfect.
Yeah,
Well, here was
mine
this
were-
great big blob of,
these purpley green, all this
Frosting.
mixed frosting.
and then all this
Yeah.
stuff on it,
I think that happened because we both had boys, and I as well as maybe 1 or 2 girls or whatever.
One.
But, and I had 1 girl too. So the boys, I mean, they're a little
Yeah, it was a
more.
mess.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
They don't.
And they would eat the little candies too.
Yeah.
They'd
Oh.
sprinkle them in, and then their mouth,
They're
their
all over.
tongues. Yeah,
Red tongues,
I mean,
green
so
tongues.
you
Yeah.
think about now. Isn't that a cute little vignette?
Yeah.
I mean, you can if you were to tell your great or your grandchildren, say,
Mm-hmm.
if you've done this with your children like we did.
Yeah.
You said this is what your dad did on Christmas.
Yeah.
It's
I
kind of
love that.
a kind of a funny story, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Do you know one thing I was thinking of? But do they still have the electric company books? You remember all the cookie books?
Oh,
that came-
yeah, they're giving them out
They were big
again.
in the 60s.
Yeah.
We have the electric company. Every year you would go, I think we had to go into the electric company to get it.
Yes.
And they'd give out the books.
Yeah.
And every year you'd get a new cookie book. Do you guys remember that?
Yep.
I
Yeah, they're doing it now.
are they?
Yeah,
So
I
they're-
saw it advertised. Yeah,
Oh, 'cause-
yeah, and I think we all kind of gather all these cookbooks and recipes,
Yeah.
or somebody has a really good recipe. Like I used to be a member of the homemakers group, and they would always have a cookie exchange. You brought so many dozen, and then everybody would get a sample of all these cookies. I just love that because they really
That
work
was
so
nice.
beautifully.
I always liked it because everybody else is always
I
better
know,
than mine.
I'm so pretty,
Yeah.
I mean, I said, geez,
Cookie exchange, right?
Yeah,
That's
cookie
what-
exchange,
Cookie
yeah,
exchange.
yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
called.
and it
Yeah.
was,
We would do that in our neighborhood. I remember doing that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd probably be kind of fun even to do it within your family, I mean,
yeah.
because, your sons get married and they're,
They bring in new
wives,
traditions.
yeah.
Yes.
And so it's ever changing, and this is what we talked about before,
Mm-hmm.
that, society does change, and as you mature, you're living in a different era, and it's kind of fun, to
It
do
is-
that.
You have to go along with the changes because, I can remember one of our traditions, and I can remember first you're first getting married. Now you're bringing in two families together. Your husband did it one way, you did it another way, and now you have this big fight on Christmas or close to Christmas where you're going, well, no, we're going to do it like this. No, we're going to do this is the way I always did it. Well, this is the way I always did it, and that's kind of. I don't know, we had that fight anyhow. And I can remember being very adamant because my Christmas was Christmas Eve. So that's what I was used to. And I had two sisters, he had two brothers. So, but, and his was, no, the kids get up early in the morning, then they open up the gifts and that, so it's gotta be Christmas morning. And I said, no, it's gotta be Christmas Eve. You open up but I gave in to him. I have to say, I did give in to him. We did it. I thought, well, let him have his way. Do a Christmas morning. And you know what? That's what we ended up doing because I realized that was really a fun. Get up early in the morning and have your little your coffee and your kids could have a hot cocoa and have their jammies on. So I did give in, but I was happy I did, and we did that all the time. Then it was Christmas morning, and I was happy that my mind was open a little bit to, and then that happens now what you have the grandchildren, and they're like at our age, our grandchildren are married too, and now try and get a Christmas celebration in. That's a
That's
challenge.
a big thing.
Yeah.
I remember our kids always went to bed on Christmas Eve with flashlights because they would get up so early in the morning.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
I don't think they set a clock or anything, but somebody woke up and then they woke up with the other two, so they would be down there, already screaming and yelling what
Really
they got
early
from
in the
Santa
morning.
and everything,
Yeah.
But one year, well, like Donna said hers is Christmas Eve, and we always used to open one gift on Christmas Eve, which was the pajamas,
Oh,
And-
yeah. Yeah, I think that's why.
so
we
you could wear them to
Yeah,
bed,
yes.
Okay, everybody got
Yeah.
one, and everybody knew what that was and everything. But one Christmas why don't we open another one? And then it just kind of kept going and going.
Oh no.
And we had
You had them all
oh
over.
my gosh! The next morning, well, we had the Santa gifts, but I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of other
Yeah.
gifts to open. And we said we'd never do that again. Never, never. The other thing is that you might want to try sometimes too, is that we used to record the gift opening.
Oh,
kids
yeah.
screaming.
Now it's really
and,
easy to record your
so-
gift opening.
Yeah,
Not like
and
it
what
used
did you
to be.
get? We
Yeah,
have this
yeah.
little conversation with them and everything. But let me tell you what it is though. Here it is, years later, my kids are in their 50s and 60s, and they love listening to those tapes.
Yeah.
Because it's just little voices, and they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, oh, that's me, and oh, that's me." I mean, it's like, and how, you can remember those things, but if you actually are hearing them, it's so fun.
This was a voice. It wasn't. It was
just a tape recorder.
tape recorder.
Yeah,
Okay.
do they still sell those? I
don't think
Well,
so.
no, you have it on your phone though.
Yeah, you could do it easily nowadays. You can get the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I get. I'm here and I'll get.
But to play them back
Yeah.
is like, wow, because it's their own voices, but when they were young, I mean, can they remember what their voice was like when they were young? And they just laugh and laugh about, how funny they sounded. And see, these are just the little pleasures of being together
And a holiday,
and remembering or having some kind of tradition that every year you can bring it up. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
okay, we're gonna listen to the tapes today, or we're going to, now we got videos and stuff. I mean, it's
Tradition is important, and it's almost sad that nowadays you film everything right on your phone or whatever. But in our day, we had a camera, a real video camera.
yeah,
And before that was slides. So you would take pictures, and they were
right.
on a slide, and then you'd have a slide projector, and you could take those, and it was an event in and of itself to sit there.
Because it's like a show.
It was a show. Everybody'd, okay, everybody gather around. Dad set up the slide, the screen
Yeah.
for the slide, and we'd all be anxiously awaiting to see what happened the year before. And that was, I feel sad in a way that kids don't have that now.
We talked about, everything has become, in a new society, efficient. And,
Yeah, very
everything has got to be, well, first of all, it's got to be certainly
Fast.
mechanical.
And fast, electronic.
Fast,
I think.
yeah,
I think the word is
electronic, yeah.
electronic. No, mechanical, electronic. I don't know.
But, that's good,
Is it good?
I mean, it is, it brings things to life again, we were talking about.
True.
Bringing
Yeah.
things to life.
Yeah.
That, you hear that little childhood voice who's now 50-something years old. And
Right,
you just, you could just sit there and cry. I mean, it is a beautiful thing. And then their own kids can hear them, and then they can say,
Yeah.
"Oh, Dad,
You
you
used to
sounded
do
so
that."
crazy when you
Yeah.
were a little guy,"
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like, it's an experience for everyone at whatever age. And, see,
And did we have more snow? I mean, we live in an area where there's snow. I do believe we had more snow in those years. I feel like I always had like snowy Christmas time. And I think I had brought this up before. We got ice skates. And I mean, I always during our vacation, I was able to go ice skating, and seemed like there were mounds of snow. Was that because I was just smaller?
Well, I remember
The
one year
snow
you couldn't
piles
see
seemed
around the
high.
corner because the snow heaps were so high.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's it in whatever part of the country that you live in. You do have certain traditions just from that area.
That's
you have
right.
it from your family.
Yeah.
You have it from your culture, your church, in the town that you live in, and it all brings us all together, and that we are, really making Christmas significant and meaningful.
And Angie has written some pretty neat stories that I think we're going to do a whole nother thing on Angie's stories, because it's kind of reminiscent and it's kind of fun, and I think you will enjoy. We've got a couple of stories. I think Angie will read a story and I'll read a story, and that Angie wrote, and they're pretty fun to watch. So I think I'm looking forward to the next time we get together here, and maybe we'll just even turn off our camera and start a whole new episode with that, because we're almost to 20 minutes, and that's what we keep this to.
We have 1
1
minute,
minute
yet.
left. Yeah. So
Well, anyway, these talks between you and me in December, we just really want you to think about how you and your family could do something different, or expand the tradition that you have, or explain how it got started, or
right.
I mean,
and
just
they want to know.
Yeah.
They do want to know those things.
That's for sure.
So I'm thinking that's a really good idea. So I guess we will turn off our camera now, and we will, we're going to be back. So this
Yes.
is like a pause, but it'll be a whole new episode.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for
Yes.
joining us. We do appreciate it, and remember, this conversation is between you and me.